Hello again, welcome back, thanks for joining me. So this is just the second of this series of videos I'm doing on my collection. Getting into the good stuff now. I thought I'd do a video on stuff that really I'll get off on, basically. This is stuff from the 70s, so these are original old bootleg pressings. They're all multicoloured vinyl, and some of them are very hard to find. I'll go through them in kind of a chronological order as far as I know them to be. It's in two sections. The first section is the releases from a label called Hoffman Avenue Records, which was set up by a guy called Lou Cohan. He was a school teacher, I believe, in America. He fell in love with Bruce Springsteen, I think, in about 1974, and he was desperate to sort of find some Bruce Springsteen bootlegs. He met up with somebody called Vicky Vinyl, who was already in the process of pressing bootlegs, and she kind of set him on his way. So these are the bootlegs that he then started to produce, starting obviously with his favourite artist Bruce Springsteen. Vicky Vinyl was responsible for the Idle Mind Productions label, and that will be in the second half of this video. They're similar in appearance and presentation, but I think they were working mostly independently, although I think they funded each other at one stage. So here we go, hope you enjoy it. So the very first Hoffman Avenue Records release was Bruce Springsteen, called The Jersey Devil. Quite a famous bootleg now, almost infamous if you like. It's from Bryn Mawr, Main Point, Philadelphia, from '73. With an additional track from Main Point in February '74. So you've got an insert with loads of writing on the back. I'll hold that up. And basically the writing on the back is all saying about why you've got to listen to Bruce Springsteen, and he's the birth of rock and roll, etc. All very enthusiastic. And the little rock and roll symbol there is something that they used at the time. Plain cover otherwise. Again, I usually have these triple wrapped, so I've had to unwrap them to do this, so I'm being very careful. So on my copy I've got blank label on one side and a silver label on the other, Hoffman Avenue, Jersey Devil, and the tracks. And then the vinyl is red with multiple splatter, which is the style that they used. So you've got multiple colours in there. Can't probably tell from this distance, but really nice. This LP's been repressed numerous times, so there's other coloured vinyl versions, there's lots of black vinyl versions, different coloured inserts. I think the first pressing, which this is, was always white insert. So that was his first attempt. His second release was Bruce Springsteen, the Roxy, which was the Roxy '75 radio broadcast. So this again was a wraparound sleeve. It's subtitled "There Ain't Nobody Here from Billboard Tonight," which is what he said during the show, which was a comment to say that they could really relax and let themselves go a bit, because they weren't performing in front of special guests. This was the poster of the tour that they used. Again, you've got Tiny there, rock and roll logo. Later repressings have, that's either not there or there's something else there. This is a double album. Now with my copy of this, I also have the insert that Lou Cohan put in to sort of sell their titles, if you like, or manually typed and photocopied. So that's a nice original document to have. Now here you've got nice labels, both sides. The one record is Green Splatter, which again has got red and white and other colours set against the green. The second disc is multicoloured splatter, so rainbow splatter we would call that. So when you get a copy which has got one of these in it, it's the bee's knees as far as I'm concerned. There's no more gorgeous thing to have than that. Talking about records there, of course. So that was his second release. His third release was Bob Dylan and Neil Young recording. Goes under the title Snack, which is the abbreviation for the Students Need Athletics, Culture and Kicks concert from March 23rd, 1975, which was a Bill Graham organised concert to support schools, I believe. So the insert, got a track listing on the back, folded section, lots of credits. Okay, a little rock and roll logo is where it should be there. This one's got plain blue labels, but again we've got the rainbow splatter in all its lovely glory. This one's got slightly less white on it, so it's kind of more vivid. It's got reds, greens, white, and against the translucent yellow. Okay, so let's make sure I get my facts right on this. Those titles there, which were his first titles, came out in 1975. Okay, so in 1976 he then brought out these titles. So he does another Bruce called Hot Coals from the Fiery Furnace. This is again a double album. It's got a wraparound insert, which has just been very lightly taped onto my cover, so I'm not going to. No need to remove it; it's in perfect condition. Yeah, it's got the tracks sort of written in the furnace, and the track listings on the back. Now with this one, It's a bit of a sort of mishmash of various recordings. A lot of Main Point, Philadelphia, 75, and other stuff from 73 and 75 period. So it's not one complete show. So the first disc has got printed labels with the tracks, and there's a nice red multicolour splatter. And the other disc is obviously similar labels again, but this time it's a green multicolour splatter. So obviously very attractive as a double album with the different colours together, a bit like the Roxy. Okay, so still in 76 he then brought out Joni Mitchell, the Postal and the Mosam. And this is a slightly odd album. It's got a mixture of interviews and some live cuts as well. It's actually really interesting. It's got a strange drawing of Joni. It's a very rare record, very hard to get. The labels are printed, track listings, and this is a multicolour blue splatter with reds, yellows, white, all sorts of colours. So these are all the first pressings. I'm not sure whether this was repressed subsequently. Can't imagine it sold in vast quantities. There would have been probably about 500 of each of these made at the time. He then did a Jackson Browne record, which is called Rated X. You just want meat, you don't want me, you asshole you. So that's the cover. I've got two copies of this LP. One's a nice red splatter. I think this is a radio broadcast if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, from again Main Point, Philadelphia in 75. My other copy of the same thing. This time it's blue, but it's got a different label, Dandelion Records, silver label. There is a rainbow splatter version of it, which if I can find one at a reasonable price, I will try and get. And then really the last one he did in 76 was a Stills Young band, Neil Young and Stephen Stills, called For What It's Worth. This has got a second insert in the back, which is quite humorous. It's a parody of a Singer original double disc insert, SOD as we call them, where he's bemoaning what they were bringing out, just copying stuff that had already come out. So it just shows the bootleggers were all having a bit of a go at each other. just give you the date line on this one. Philadelphia Spectrum, 76, not sure the date, but printed labels, and again multicolour splatter against the blue backing. So I believe that was the last one he brought out, and then he got busted. So it was a fairly short-lived affair, but having said that, he then managed to get some stuff out the following year, some of which I've got, not multicoloured vinyls or anything, but yeah, so he managed to still do a little bit of trading. Anyway, so that was what I absolutely love. Original. I mean, these are 40 years old, nearly 50 years old. You get them in good condition, and you can imagine what they went through to get these things pressed up and released, and the care they took, and all that sort of thing. And to think that we can still have them today and enjoy them. I don't need to play them. I don't need to listen to them. In fact, the rule of thumb is don't play them, because you're only just going to add to the wear on the record. Maybe play test them, but other than that, to me, it's what they look like, the condition that they're in, and if they're original, and try and get the first pressings or the most pretty pressings. So that's Hoffman Avenue.